guess who finally got a job? I did! And to celebrate, I'm going to go through my top 10 work-friendly knits. Hello and welcome to Knits by Shan. My name is Shannon. I'm a knitter and a crocheter and a final year accounting student based in Scotland. If you want to follow me on any of my other social media, I will leave those on the screen and in the description below. So today we're going to be going through my top 10 kind of workplace, professional kind of friendly knits. But I do have a couple of disclaimers. One, this is not an exhaustive list. I actually have a Ravelry bundle of over 40, I think, at the moment. And I decided to put my top 10, otherwise this was going to be a very long video. So there is more in that bundle. I will leave that bundle linked in the description if you're interested in any of these patterns or if you want to see what else I have in that bundle. Secondly, the job I'm starting, so I start next week, and the office is quite casual. I'm not going to be in a corporate environment, but there's some pieces that probably might run a little bit more corporate, simply because of the industry that I'm going to be going into once I graduate. So there'll be a little bit of a mixture of like casual, but you can still wear to the office, and more corporate, and that's the reason for that, really. So without further ado, let's get into my top 10 workwear friendly patterns. I forgot to mention, I do have notes, so I possibly will be looking down at points because I have the name of the pattern, the name of the designer, the cost of the pattern in pounds because I am based in the UK, what weight yarn is recommended, the gauge, needle size, and what sizes. So I cannot remember all that information, so if I'm looking down, that'll be why that is. The first pattern I have on my list is the Sylvester tee. I will put up a picture as well. This pattern is by Cupid Knits. Can't remember the name. I know she goes by Cupid Knits. Anna Sorensen, I think. The pattern itself is about £7.30 if you do the conversion from, I think it's Danish krone. And it's a fingering weight pattern. Gauge of 26 stitches and 34 rows on 3.5mm needles, and quite a big size range. So there's 16 sizes, which ranges from a bust measurement of 75 centimeters to 150 centimeters. And yeah, this piece is something that from the moment I saw it, I loved it. I think it's something that will work really well for work, but also it's something I would wear just in my day-to-day. And I think that's something I kind of want to try and keep in mind as I'm making stuff predominantly for work, that ideally I want things that are multifunctional. So if it's something that I wouldn't wear in my day-to-day, there's probably not much point me making it. So that is something that I'm trying to consider throughout all of these patterns. The second pattern I have is also by Cupid Knits. It's the Campanula tee, which again is another one. From the moment I saw it, I wanted to make it. There's also actually a dress version. I'm not sure I'd wear the dress to work, however, I think if you made it longer, like if it was like knee length or something maybe, and you wore it with tights, I think you could pull that off. But I'm talking about for this purpose today, I'm talking about the tee. So again, with the conversion, it's about £7.30. It's sport weight yarn rather than fingering weight this time. And the gauge is 30 stitches and 40 rows on 2.5mm needles. I forgot to mention, when I talk about the gauge, I'm talking in 10 centimeters or 4 inches. And again, not as many sizes as the Sylvester tee, but quite a lot. There's 12 sizes. And I think this has negative ease as well. I forgot to write down the negative ease. But it's to fit bust of 70 to 135 centimeters. Pattern number 3 is by the same designer that designed this. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video what I'm wearing. This is my checker plate tee by Lily Kate Makes, and I knit this as a test knit. The pattern's not out yet. Test knit is currently still ongoing. I need to take the finished object photos, but I wanted to wear it today. So this is the checker plate tee, and the third pattern on my list is the Nitty Committee top, also by Lily Kate Makes. I think this one's great because there's so many options. Like if you look at the Ravelry picture, you can make it puff sleeved or short sleeve or long sleeved. So you'd have one pattern, but you can make so many different variations and for different times of the year. But I also think it's just like a nice, timeless, simple pattern that I could wear to the office, maybe with some nice trousers or a skirt. The pattern is a little bit more than the previous two. It's £7.50. It's fingering weight and gauge of 26 stitches and 37 rows on 3mm needles and 10 centimeters, and comes in 9 sizes ranging from a 71 centimeter bust to a 157 centimeter bust. Number 4 is the Lunati by Carissa. This has been on my queue for quite a while, I think. I can't remember how long, but quite a while. And I do want to make this. It is about £5.68 I've got written down. I think that'd be because of conversion. Fingering weight and gauge of 22.5 stitches and 36 rows on 4mm in 10 centimeters, but unlike the others, it's in broken rib, not stockinette. There's 14 sizes ranging from finished measurements of 71 centimeters to 71 centimeters to 153 centimeter bust, and this is with 0 to 5 centimeters negative ease. So say, for example, if you had a 90 centimeter bust, you'd want to pick the one that was between 85 to 90, if that makes sense. I am realizing as I'm going through that there's some repeat designers. I think just because maybe the sort of aesthetic that I have just seems to, I know, work really well with workwear. But number 5 is another one by Lily Kate Makes. It's the Calm Down cardigan. I think it's just such a nice, simple, classic cardigan. I think having a cardigan would be very useful. Again, I don't quite know exactly what the office temperature, I guess, is going to be. When I went in for my interview, I was in the boardroom, so I was not in the office. I have no idea if there's air conditioning, if it gets blasted. I know some people talk about offices, they walk in and the aircon is just blasting. To be fair though, I live in Scotland, so most likely there won't be aircon, but you know, it just might be a good thing to have just a nice classic cardigan I could put over a shirt or a top or a dress, and just, yeah, in case one, the office is particularly cold, or there's also my body cannot regulate its own temperature properly. I will go from boiling hot to freezing cold in the space of 5 minutes, so there's also that as well. But yes, back to the pattern. It is about £7.50. I think that's the standard for Lily Kate Makes patterns. It's a DK weight and has a gauge of 22 stitches and 32 rows on 22 stitches and 32 rows on 4mm needles and 10 centimeters, and again 9 sizes ranging from 71 centimeter bust to 157 centimeter bust. This one, I can't remember who I was watching. I think it was Shan Over did a similar kind of pattern roundup to this, and I found this pattern through watching her video, and it comes with 2 options. So it's the fitted cardigan and shoulder pads by Alex Miller. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm really sorry. It gives you the options to have the shoulder pads or not. I think I probably would go without, but if you like the shoulder pads, there is an option there for that. It is a free pattern, which is great. It's light fingering, and the gauge is 29 stitches and 40 rows on 3.5mm needles. Now the only downside to this one is the sizing. There's only 5 sizes, so extra small to extra large, and I couldn't actually find the measurements on the Ravelry page. So yeah, I think there will be potentially others that are similar that probably have a wider size range, and if I can find that, I'll try and link that in the description and possibly put it on the screen as well. It is a free pattern, so that is great. So that's why I think I'm not quite so, I wouldn't say I'm not bothered, but like why I decided to include it. And I think it is a great pattern, but the fact that you can't even find the measurements for the sizes is quite annoying. It is possible that when I looked at this yesterday, I just didn't see them, because I made this, it wasn't so much script but I guess show notes yesterday, and when that was happening I was battling a handful of symptoms, so I was exhausted and in a lot of pain. It is possible I just missed it. If I have, I will correct that on the screen. Number 7 is the Nemi skirt by Milena Jahula. The price for this is £6.82 after the conversion. It uses sport weight and the gauge is 23 stitches and 40 rows on 3.5mm needles. There are 9 sizes ranging from a 96cm hip measurement to 167cm hips. Again, I think this is just like a nice classic skirt. I think I would make it in, similar to the pattern photo, quite a midi length. And I think it looks comfy. So I love the colour that they've used in the sample photos as well. So I don't know, maybe I'd do a similar colour to that as well. Number 8 is the Serious skirt, so another skirt pattern by Carissa again. This is £6.81 for the pattern. It uses sport weight yarn and a gauge of 26 stitches and 27 rows. Is that right? Must be. If that's wrong, I'll correct it. But 26 stitches and 27 rows on 4mm needles. And I think again this is using finished measurements with 0 to 10 centimeters of negative ease, and so the sizes range from 133.8 centimeters to 172.3 centimeters. This is the hips. Yeah, I hope I've taken the information down right. If I haven't, I will correct it on the screen. Coming towards the end now, number 9 is the Amy top by Mochi Knits, and I've heard a lot of people talking about Mochi Knits. I've not knit anything from Mochi Knits, but some really lovely designs. This one in particular is £7.23 for the pattern. It is DK weight yarn and a gauge of 21 stitches and 32 rows on 4mm needles. There's 7 sizes ranging from 80 centimeters to 130 centimeter bust. And the pattern photo, the V looks quite deep, but I think either A, I would wear a singlet underneath, or I might see if I can alter the pattern so maybe it's not quite so deep of a V. But I think if maybe the V wasn't quite so deep, it looks very professional. But we'll see if I get around to making this, what I decide to do with that. And number 10 is the Winnie sweater by Woozy by Celine. It is £6 for the pattern and uses Aran weight. So this is the thickest, like heaviest yarn weight out of all the patterns that I've included today. It has a gauge of 16 stitches and 28 rows on 5.5mm needles, so it will knit up really fast and has, I should be able to count that in my head how many sizes, but it sizes extra small to 4XL, so it ranges from an 80cm bust to 140cm bust. This pattern just, I don't know, just seems simple and classic, but I love the silhouette. I like the bigger sleeves. I think, again, if I had wore this with like a pair of slacks, like it would just look quite nice, especially in the colder months. We're still in summer, so I probably wouldn't make this just yet, but maybe in the next couple of months I might think about casting something like this on. I think, if I remember correctly, it is double-stranded. I don't know if I would double-strand it or just use, for example, something like Sadler's Garn, Cardigan, and just hold that single. I'm not too sure, I'm not that far ahead. I feel like this sort of pattern in like a tweedy, again, like Sadler's Garn, Cardigan has some lovely tweed, and I feel like in a tweedy pattern this will also look really nice. And that is all I have today. That is my top 10 workwear friendly knits. As I said, this is not an exhaustive list. I will leave the Ravelry bundle linked in the description below if you want to go have a look at potentially any other patterns that I have there. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, so my TikTok, my Instagram or my Ravelry, I will leave those on the screen and in the description below. I post on those a lot more frequently than I do over here on YouTube. At the moment I'm trying to post daily on Instagram and TikTok, so if you want to see some more behind the scenes, that would be where to follow me. And thank you for joining me today. If you liked today's video, give me a like. If you want to see more knitting and crochet related content, consider subscribing so that you don't miss any future uploads. And I hope you have a great week. I hope you are enjoying what you're making right now, and I will see you on Saturday for a new podcast episode. Until then, bye bye.